Second of a doubleheader here on the Lawrence Tech Sports Network. The Aquinas Saints in town for another WAC matchup. The first on the home floor of 2019 for the Blue Devils under head coach Josh Pickens at 7-9 on the season right now, 4-5 in the WAC. A chance to get to 500 if you can pull off 2 wins this week. Concordia on Saturday, a team that's just 2-8 in the conference. And once again, we are back here. It's a pleasure to be with you, Jason Ross Jr., for the second of a back-to-back on the LTU Sports Network tonight. Ty Searles, Carter France, Alec Ivanovic, Jalen Bethel, and getting his second start of the season, Devontae Miles, the senior from Orlando, with Dalen Blakely out of the lineup with that elbow injury. Now Jalen Bethel immediately making his presence felt. We're going to talk about the rebounding battle tonight as the Blue Devils appear to have a significant advantage on the glass. And you look at rebounding, LTU is the second best rebounding team in the WAC. You point right at Bethel, you point right at Miles, as I previously mentioned, who is in the starting lineup tonight. Aquinas, on the other end, is one of the worst rebounding teams in the WAC. Last in total rebounding margin as Bethel's free throw is around and out. He struggled from the line this season. It's been probably the one down point for Bethel in his freshman year, which has been a coming out party immediately. The 6'7" freshman from Columbus, Ohio, goes 1 for 2 at the line. And we are underway. We're inside of the Don Riddler Fieldhouse as the Blue Devils are playing their first of 2 at home this week under head coach Josh Pickens, assistant coach Joe Lightfoot. On the other side, just finished speaking with Ryan Bertoya in his 7th season at the helm for Aquinas, a team that most feel is a lot more talented than their 5-13 record would indicate, as there's an early jumper that drains from their leading scorer, Deshaun Lewis, junior forward from Detroit, averaging 15 points per game. That's 10th in the WAC. His 46% from the field is 9th in the WAC, so he does it in a very efficient fashion. Carter France over to Devontae Miles, another one of the more efficient players in this conference. He feeds Bethel. A couple of bounces, was stripped initially and then fouled. Blue Devils made history last Thursday, defeating Rochester College. They broke the single-season records for wins in a season, hitting that 7 mark. Now 7-9 on the season. That was followed up, though, with a loss to Lourdes, 98-67 loss. And head coach Josh Pickens told me that the compete simply was not there. So can they find that compete tonight? They're down 4-5, now 5-1 early after the 3 goes down from TJ Hunter. It's been an up and down year as anticipated with the influx of young players on this team. A total of 11 new players for the Blue Devils this season. Head coach Josh Pickens has taken on that challenge, and he has been successful in that challenge. This team has turned around. I mentioned eclipsing that single-season win total a lot faster than people thought they would. Most predicted this team to finish last in the conference, but at 7-9, once again, a chance to get to 500 this week. The referees have a bit of a discussion here. Looks like it will stay on this end. Searles, second leading scorer in the conference, will inbound here. Still sorting out the paperwork are the referees. Might have been a scoring issue that they wanted to clarify. They put 7 seconds on the shot clock with 17:56 to go in the first half. 5 seconds for Miles. Now France with 4. Being harassed there by Hunter. Step back jumper. Fall away, knocked it down. Carter France, the freshman, can hit big shots, and he can hit tough ones. He does it there, and it's a 2-point game now. Early 5-3 lead for Rochester. Aquinas, rather. Our first of this doubleheader, the Aquinas women came away with a narrow victory over Lawrence Tech to narrow that WAC race on the women's side of things. Should be a tight, fun race down the stretch. Indiana Tech atop that women's race at 9-0. When will they suffer their first defeat? 17-1 on the season, third in the country. That's a tough and tall task for the rest of the pack to deal with. Bethel down low, couldn't finish initially. They'll have to make those. Aquinas the other way. Bo LePage, she's had a really nice few games. From distance, it's TJ Hunter. Off the mark, rebound, pinballs into the hands of Ty Searles. The vocal leader on this Lawrence Tech basketball team accelerates into the paint. Had Ivanovic on the cross-court kick. This Blue Devil team can pick up the pace, and it can be fun to watch. We get a whistle before Deshaun Lewis was called for the foul. Miles is an interesting wrinkle in the starting lineup. He's obviously embraced the role off the bench this season, but he can certainly is a player that is of caliber of a starter. TJ Hunter will drop it back out for LePage. AJ Atwater, the junior, knocks down the triple. He's shooting just 25% from downtown this season, but was a 38% three-point shooter last season. It's an 8-3 lead for Aquinas in the early goings. 16-19 to go first half. We'll take the quick breather. Return momentarily. Welcome back to the Lawrence Tech Sports Network. 16-19 to go in this first half. Aquinas off to a nice shooting start. A little early backcourt pressure from the Saints. Bethel, Miles caught, they didn't see him. Searles under 10 on the shot clock. Once again, Aquinas, a nice defensive possession early on, showing their athleticism and proving the people who said they are, in fact, better than this record correct, as it is an early 8-3 start. Deshaun Smith, he's one of the better players in this conference. Dumps it out for Bo LePage, who's had one of the better streaks in this conference over the past few games. TJ Hunter with 8 to shoot. Backing and falling away there. Smith couldn't hit it. Ty Searles, 6'3" senior, got it. Searles with such ease and poise, has the ability to score. Recently had one of the better quotes that you will ever hear. I absolutely loved it as that three is off the mark. He said that the game isn't going to give you anything that you don't work for, and he embodies that. Head coach Josh Pickens has told me on multiple occasions about stories of him, about stories of Searles texting Coach Pickens and saying, you know, when can we work out? How early can you go? And, you know, Ty, he'll, whatever Coach Pickens' schedule allows, that's what Ty will work out. And he really puts in that work and puts it in nonstop. And that's shown this season with such an astounding year. Long three from Ivanovic off the mark. Bethel, that rebounding advantage that I talked about earlier in the broadcast, once again on display, and he earns LTU a fresh shot clock. This time Searles off a screen. They like to isolate him on that left side. Give it back out to Isaiah Cumberland, coming off a career high 16 points in the loss to Lourdes. Was the lone bright spot in that game. Here's Ivanovic looking to get going from deep and does. Quick 5 in a row for Lawrence Tech after going down 8-3. TJ Hunter off a screen, LePage. Bo LePage pirouettes, pretty move, got it to go. Balletic, deft move from Bo LePage. Sharpshooter coming off career high himself against UNOH of 16 points. This will stay with Lawrence Tech on another fresh shot clock. LePage heads out for Aquinas. Derek Murray checks in. 3 from Ivanovic. Looking for his second in a row. Can he get the hop? That will go, they're going to say out of bounds off the top. So still 10-8. And now Lawrence Tech gets back on defense. Can they feed off perhaps a rebounding advantage in this one and get that confidence back that could lead to the compete that head coach Josh Pickens has talked about? Derek Murray, 16 points off the bench the last time these two teams met up. It was last season. Here's a long 3 from Hunter off the mark. Miles showing those hops, skying for the board. And now here he comes. Ivanovic thought about it in transition. Drops it back for Carter France. He's already hit one difficult shot. Searles, his shot from deep is down. Ty Searles gets on the board. And it's an 11-10 Blue Devil lead on a nice extended run here. Back and forth we go in the opening half. Derek Murray, sophomore guard from Ann Arbor. Miles watches Smith. What a matchup that'll be all night long. Smith wins that round, but we could see a couple more rounds. That's a heavyweight battle. Smith versus Miles. Smith not checking Miles on this end. Smith is on Ivanovic, and now we see that right away. Miles, though, goes to work against Patton, freshman guard from Brooklyn. Searles shaking and baking, falling away off the mark. This will go back in favor of Aquinas. This Aquinas team is 8th in the WAC, one of 3 teams with a 4-5 conference record overall. LTU, another one of those teams, obviously. Lords being the other. And there's a nice right elbow jumper that drops for Hillis. Joseph Hillis, another sharpshooter. This team has depth offensively. Hillis, another freshman on this team, has the ability to score the ball. Had a 20-point game earlier this season. Searles, he had a 37-point game earlier this season. Bethel backs it out to Searles. Driving, stopping, popping off the glass. Got it to go. 11:24 to go, almost halfway through this first half. It's a 1-point Blue Devil lead. And the travel will give LTU a little pass there, and Sana Sisawa will make his way in. Head coach Josh Pickens talked to me about Sana before the game. Says that he's one of the guys that will have to step up in Dalen Blakely's absence. On the note of Dalen Blakely, Blue Devil fans breathe a sigh of relief because he will be back sooner or later. The x-rays came back negative. They hope he can return. Might take some time. Once again, a little pressure out high from Aquinas. Sisawa tried to give the entry feed, but the junior from Brooklyn, Miles Patton, saw it all the way. It's just 6 on the clock here on the inbounds. Cumberland. Fans letting him know how much time he has. Ivanovic has to take a really tough step back, a rainbow shot off to the right, and the shot clock expires. 14-13 still. It's again Lawrence Tech, the first of 2 games this week We'll have the second for you on Saturday at 3 p.m. right here on the LTU Sports Network when Concordia comes to town from Ann Arbor. It's a tough loss for the Blue Devils that first time around against the Cardinal. Can they find the consistent effort tonight? Been doing it defensively over the last few possessions. Able to limit Deshaun Smith, and back comes Ty Searles. Little stutter step. Ivanovic shows, gives back to Searles, tried to feed it for Bethel, but Deshaun Smith showing his defensive prowess, now his offensive prowess. The other way, draws a foul, count it, and he'll have a chance to add on. Deshaun Lewis, the top scoring threat for this Aquinas team, and Blue Devil fans are witnessing it early on, averaging just a shade under 16 points per game. Had a 37-point game 7 days ago against Indiana Tech. That was the most points scored in a WAC game this season. Went 14 of 28 in that one. Just 3 of 8 versus UNOH, though. So it's kind of interesting to see his field goal attempts down. We know about the coming out party that Bo LePage had in that game against UNOH, going for 16. So, you know, Smith didn't necessarily need to score as much as he did. Sissewa, they're going to say he was pushed out of bounds right in front of the Aquinas bench. So that's a foul, and LTU will keep possession. .9:54 to go in this first half. Searles up against Zazuva Lyalshivi from the Republic of Georgia. Same country that Piston Zaza Pachulia is from. And now Searles will work against him. Tough left elbow jumper off the mark. And now back comes Hillis. He already has a bucket tonight. Nice handle on display, wearing that 30 like Stephen Curry, and he dribbles like him too. They go cross court. Hillis, nice drive. Oh, what a fake, but threw it away. Cumberland the other way for Lawrence Tech. Pace picking up. It'll slow down, though, as Cumberland is fouled by Derek Murray. Blue Devils looking to stem the tide. Bit of a run here from Aquinas. Miles passes up the Cumberland cut. Now goes to Searles, who kicks to Ivanovic. And Ivanovic off the mark. His percentages have been down this season. Trying to get him back on track, as soaring the other way went Derek Murray. And now the 55% free throw shooter will have a chance. Just went 0 for 2 against UNOH after back-to-back double-digit scoring performances. Ann Arbor, Michigan native, Pioneer High School. A good program up there in Ann Arbor, and he's looking to get back on track. Perhaps the free throw line is the source that could get him back in rhythm. Gets the first to go. Carter France makes his way back in, 2 points in this one. Sophomore guard around and out on the second free throw. 5-point, 2-possession game. Carter France right off the bench, got it. The freshman from Dansville, Michigan. He's made his presence felt early and often in this season and cuts it to a 2-point game. Navigating his way in the paint there was Vavushelli, found Freitag, is the second unit out right now for this Aquinas team, and Miles stutter-stepping and speeding the other way off the glass. Couldn't finish, tapped by Bethel. They're going to give him an over-the-back foul. Atop the back of Kyle Freitag. Freitag at 6'9" down there, going up against 6'7" Bethel. That's a matchup to watch. TJ Hunter back in on the Aquinas side. Swinging it around. Nice ball movement here. And the drive off the mark that time from Derek Murray, but they'll reset. Blue Devils defensively are allowing the most points in the WAC this season. They'll get one there though with a traveling call. They'll give them possession back. But coming off another one of those performances that just didn't live up to the bill defensively. 89 points scored by Lourdes. Game before that, a big win over Rochester College, a team that's 2 games above 500, 179-75. And that's the win that did eclipse the program record for Lawrence Tech. Now 7-9 on the season, and the big one tonight. They've had some close ones on this floor. All indications early pointing toward what could be another one. Searles, meanwhile, fouled hard. Pops right back up, though. 7:29 to go, first half. Ty Searles able to get that free throw drop. He is 84% from the free throw line. That is best for 5th in the conference. Total of 337 points coming into tonight. That's 2nd in the WAC. Adds on to his total and ties the game, most importantly. Stop and pop there from Murray off the mark, and Carter France pulls down the board. Miles, deep 3 off the side of the rim, and now Hill just wants to push again. Oh, look at that stop and go move. Couldn't finish, but the board pulled down again by Deshaun Lewis. Lewis averaging a shade under 5 rebounds per game. And now he'll go to the line, where he's 63% on the season. Once again, that 37-point game that he had against Indiana Tech a couple of games ago, a kid that really has the ability to show off his skill set. Josh Pickens pointed him out to me in particular in our little pregame chat. Chance to give his team a 2-point lead, and does that. High press is on again. Trap comes against Searles, almost lost it. Held his footing. Crowd, the Aquinas crowd at least, thought otherwise. Bethel now having a look from the 3-point line. Gives to Searles. France stripped, lost it. Sissewa goes after it. Bola Page comes away with it. Up to Smith. Sees a lane, but then was closed off by Searles. LePage jabs, had 16 points last time out. Knocks that shot down. Lead is back up to 4. A tight defensive first half. Sissewa, the young freshman. His minutes are up in the absence of Dalen Blakely. Can he take advantage? Here's Searles. He's taken advantage of his minutes this season. Has to fall away again there. He's come to like that shot. It just barely didn't go down for him there. But a nice touch on that fall-away jumper that is contested. LePage past Ivanovic, but Bethel stretches out. Nice heady play defensively from the freshman. Didn't have much to worry about with Freitag offensively. But you do have to worry about Smith offensively. right on cue, he knocks it down. And it's up to 6. Deshaun Lewis, junior from Detroit, leading the way so far in the scoring category. Shot clock deep again. France with the ball again deep in the shot clock. Has to step back, fires. That one a tough shot. It didn't reset because it didn't hit the rim. Bethel might have actually got it up, but here comes Bo LePage with speed. Gets it back. Sisawa in the lanes, an athletic defender. Freshman from Oak Park and Oak Park High School. One of 8 freshmen in today's lineup. The scoop and the pizza pie home from Ty Searles. Back to a 4-point game. Aquinas didn't like that possession defensively, and they'll want to talk things over. 24-20, the Saints lead with under 5 to go in the first half. Welcome back to the Lawrence Tech Sports Network. A 5-13 Aquinas team in town tonight, trying to breach Blue Devil territory. Josh Pickens' team at 7-9 on the season, with aspirations to get to 500 this week. They've set a single-season record for wins in a single season. Off a screen there, Zevza Lashuvi. He'll give the entry feed. Justin Larry started this one. The freshman got it to go. Caledonia, Michigan native. One of 2 natives of Caledonia, Michigan. Truman Hill is the other sophomore forward. Carter France, Bethel using that body to post up down low against Larry. Can they get it to him? 14 on the shot clock. Things still manufacturing. Searles takes it. Searles finishes it. Ty Searles, 21 points per game. Second in the WAC. The other way. Little step back from Hunter. Then the entry feed. A jab and a pump and a shot from Lewis. Off the mark, and now Searles can pound it back the other way for Lawrence Tech. Ooh, Ivanovic lost the handle. This goes into the backcourt. It was touched, though, and Searles can dribble it back into the front court. Nice pass down low, Bethel. Back to a 2-point game. Tight, airtight, as we anticipated. Miles getting set to check back in. Who can have a good ending to this first half? 2:47 to go in this first half. Lila Shulavi down low. Smith pirouettes. Oh, what a move. Lewis, the 6'4" forward, gets it to go. And having a brilliant first half of action, Deshaun Lewis. Miles, Ivanovic, Bethel, France, Sisawa out there for Lawrence Tech. And one free throw, rolls off. So a 4-point game with 2:34 to go. France freed up, was hit, no call. Now LePage quickly in transition. Long three off the mark. Rebound tipping around. Nice effort from Justin Larry, but Sissewa comes away with it. France, a dual threat guard in the sense that he can play the 2 and the 1. Running the controls there. Sissewa defended well in the back cut. Ivanovic the dribble. Can Bethel post up? Still yet to get him the entry feed. Sissewa, freshman, driving, cut off to another freshman in France. Has to put it on the deck. Miles will trigger and hit. Devontae Miles. There was absolutely no doubt when they put him in the starting lineup that he would perform and perform well, as he did all of last season and the rest of his career up until this year when he has taken that new role off the bench. As the jumper is good from Aquinas to make it 30-27. Still a one-possession game. Searles getting set to check in. 80 seconds to go first half. Do you get it to Miles again here? France cut off. Ivanovic open, corner three. Looking for a second consecutive three. Bethel on the boards. He was the one that jarred that loose, and that led to a second and then a third chance for Lawrence Tech. Ivanovic going to go to the line. Foul called on Deshaun Lewis. Alec Ivanovic just 7 of 10 at the line before that free throw attempt. Doesn't go to the paint too often. You think that'll eventually expand in a part of his game. Has had some problems with ankle injuries this season. Early on in the year against Madonna, suffered a pretty nasty one. Looking to get back on track, though. The 6'6 sophomore from Macomb. Goes 2 for 2 there, and now we have a 1-point game. We had a thriller the first time around today in the women's game. Aquinas took that one 53-51 in a low-scoring defensive battle. This one, a similar feel to it. Defensive battle, 1-point game. 10 seconds on the shot clock for the Saints. The jab and the fire. Off the mark, but the second chance is down. It was Miles Patton there, the freshman from Brooklyn, who got the start today. Shot clock and game clock virtually the same here. So you can essentially run out the clock here if you want to, and that looks like what Carter France is doing. France. Bounce to Bethel on the face-up. France. Off a screen. Searles. Step back. This is tough. Got it to go anyway. Ty Searles, what a way to end the half. Cold-blooded as it gets. He worked on that in the offseason, and he ties it up after the first half. 32 apiece here on the LTU Sports Network. You're watching Blue Devil men's basketball in your home for Lawrence Tech Athletics. We'll be back with the second half. laser-like focus from this Lawrence Tech men's basketball team, knotted up at 32 apiece. Ty Searles and Devontae Miles chatting between the break. Very intense conversation. They appear ready to go. And here we go. A big shot from Searles to end the first half. And now we're underway in the second of a conference matchup, the first on this home floor in 2019 for Lawrence Tech. So go back to Lawrence Tech. Lewis trying to get back to work there. Early sub is Freitag. Lewis heads out. Searles, France thought about it, whips a pass in deep. What a look, but it clipped off the, I think initially off the hand of an Aquinas player and then made it too tough to handle for Bethel. But Carter France showing his vision early on in this one. I like to compare him to Steve Nash with that calm he has, the ability to shoot, the ability to pass, the ability to handle in a calm nature. Ty Searles has talked about his work ethic. France has talked about just upping the urgency this week. Searles off a screen. Got it. And the Blue Devils have the lead back. Haven't said that in a while. Aquinas held a 4 to 6 to at times 2-point lead in the first half for the most part as LePage finds a runway to the cup and finishes there to knot things right back up. Devontae Miles talked about the preparation that has gone into this, the consistency, the process, pounding the pavement, as they say in this Lawrence Tech basketball program. And there's a prime example of it right there, going to work and sticking with it. Devontae Miles, not the first time we've seen that from the senior guard out of Orlando. Was given his first start of the year versus Lourdes last time out, making his second start of the season today. 73% free throw shooter. One of the best all-around basketball players on this team. Post moves are exquisite. Rebounding ability is very impactful. One of 3 players averaging at least 12 points on this Lawrence Tech team. Gets the second to go, and it's a 36-34 game now. Justin Larry, freshman guard from Caledonia, Michigan, had a nice first half. To TJ Hunter, the senior. Freitag, now Miles Patton. Blue Devils defending well here, not allowing the penetration. LePage, he can shoot it, and he can drive it. With 6 on the shot clock. Off a screen, something does open up, but they can't take advantage. It was Hunter, senior from Flint. Back comes Searles. Stop and pop. Got it. Ty Searles, his shooting ability can give you chills. They're going to keep it in play here. A quick whistle, but it's still a 39-34 Blue Devil lead. And a nice run that Lawrence Tech is in the midst of. Aquinas trying to switch some things up. They'll bring in subs. It's Murray, and coming back in is Jussie Hills, the freshman ball handler. Larry looks. Lavushili, hounded by Miles. Blue Devils closing well. That's a tough 3 off the front of the rim. Defended well. Freitag at 6'9", though. And using every single inch of that height. to earn himself an and one and a chance to cut this lead to 2. $17-12 to go, second half. Freitag just 7 of 9 from the free throw line on the season. Make it 8 of 10. Westerville, Ohio native makes it a 2-point game. Ivanovic directing traffic as Aquinas continues to implement this full court pressure. Could be impactful if this thing goes down to the final few minutes, which it is looking like it is heading toward, and it could be a tight game down those final few minutes. Carter France. Searles, he's heating up over the last few minutes. Fall away, got it to go. Kobe-esque, and he drops back with a little head nod, and it's back to a 4-point game. Freitag against Bethel, 6'9" against 6'7", and 6'9" wins that round with some nifty, balletic, poetic, brilliant footwork. 41-39, now the Blue Devil lead. Carter France, Searles, isolation, right side, goes at it again, off the mark that time. Quick drive to the paint this time from Murray. Shovels it in. Loose ball. Searles comes away with it. Blue Devils looking to push. No, they'll settle down a bit here. Josh Pickens directing traffic from the far sideline. Miles working against Murray. Now Searles calls out the vocal signal. They were looking for Miles initially to post up, but now they'll opt to go with plan B. Up 2. Searles. 2 dribbles. Tried to go wraparound for Bethel. Fortuitous ricochet, and Searles able to finish. He continues to heat up. 43-39 now, the Blue Devil lead. Miles Patton getting set to check into the scores table for Aquinas. Lost it there. An Aquinas team that's 5-13 on the season. Hillis, well defended. That's a tough, tough shot. And here's Carter France. Searles on a mini run of his own. Long distance, got it. Ty Searles. A smile on his face, a smile on the fans of the Blue Devils. Number 0 is heating up. Agent 0. Deft, delicate, and deadly. Ty Searles. And it's a 7-point game. Welcome back to the Lawrence Tech Sports Network. 46-39, the Blue Devil lead. Ty Searles has caught fire, and there's no doubt that he will not look back. Agent 0 going to work. Aquinas trying to survive this run from the Blue Devils. Blue Devils hoping to improve to 500 this week. They have Concordia on Saturday, and now the bench is into it, and the fans are into it. Carter France. This has been a fun offense over the last few minutes. They're in a rhythm, and a neat rhythm at that. Searles, oh, what a back cut. Oh, my goodness, Ty Searles. Wow! Electric move off the cut and one. A chance to extend the lead to double digits. 84% at the line. He stays hot. Fall away Jay the other way for Aquinas. This will go back the direction of the Blue Devils again. Saints desperately trying to stem the tide. A 10-point Lawrence Tech lead, their largest of the night, on an extended run. 13:40 to go, first half. Now they're going to double team Searles to try to cool him down a bit. Escaped, turning the corner, found France. Now the Blue Devils out of sorts. France triggers, couldn't hit. Bethel taps it. Hillis comes away with it. Long outlet, tipped. Ivanovic tries to chase it down. Does. What a sequence off the hand of Bethel. It'll stay with Aquinas. An eventful sequence there. Still a 10-point game. We'll take a breather here on the Lawrence Tech Sports Network. You're watching Blue Devil men's basketball on the home for Lawrence Tech Athletics. A 10-point Lawrence Tech lead. Ty Searles heating up here inside of the Riddler. Welcome back to the Lawrence Tech Sports Network. 10-point Lawrence Tech lead. Aquinas hasn't scored in over 4 minutes. Ty Searles told us at practice yesterday that each day is about coming in and working with intent. He is working with intent, laser-like intent in this second half. Cumberland gets called for the foul there, a player who had a career-high 16 points. And the loss last time out against Lourdes. Once again, this Blue Devil team kind of up and down this season. And you expect that with a young team. The last 3 games, an 86-55 loss to Ashland. Then that was an exhibition game, by the way. Then a 79-75 win over Rochester. Big, big win. And then an 89-67 loss to Lourdes. Now up 10 against Aquinas. Can they hold on? Deshaun Lewis will have something to say about it. He won't go anywhere. The 10th leading scorer in the conference, Deshaun Lewis, had a really nice first half. Here's Searles. Bethel. Aquinas didn't double Searles. He triggers. He hits again. My goodness, Ty Searles. He had a 37-point game earlier this season. Bethel defending, and defending well. A second chance deflected away, and Searles a walking dribble the other way. Double comes, the kick to Bethel, an open Sissewa, didn't take it. He'll look to Searles again. 12:04 to go, second half. Searles sizing up Patton, steps back, they got a push off that time though. And it'll go back to Aquinas. Searles still with a smile on his face. At this point, you just can't wait until LTU gets back on offense so we can watch Ty Searles again. Aquinas trying to put out that flame. They put out their offensive drought with a bucket a couple of possessions ago. The spin move on the baseline. Smith so adept at that. Now here is Searles. Once again, Sissewa coming up to take the retrieval. His minutes are up again with Blakely out. Blue Devils performing well, though. Ivanovic, Miles. He can really work in that post. Hops, fires, fades, hits. Got to get back the other way. Quickly moving in transition. I think the Blue Devils were caught off guard slightly, and Josh Pickens knows it. A couple of times now that Aquinas has gone for the long ball down the court. Carter France getting set to check in here. Miles Patton just 57% from the line on the season. Transfer from North Carolina A&T. Bethel comes out. 12-point Blue Devil lead, one of their largest of the season at home. Good start to 2019 on the new floor. Can they keep it up? Ty Searles. Can Aquinas put out this flame? No. Oh, off the mark there with 10:46 to go. Finally a heat check for Ty Searles, who has been golden over the past few minutes. Drilling off a screen goes Lewis. And Aquinas, did they call a timeout? Is it? I think they wanted one, but they might not get one. Let's see what it might have been just a discussion with the ref there. France the other way, meanwhile, for Lawrence Tech. Freshman to freshman. We hear that a lot with this Lawrence Tech team. 11 of those freshmen on the roster. Couple of red shirts, too. Double comes. France is open. Board to Lewis. And now, once again, looking to pick up the pace. It was Murray, a second chance. We've seen more of that than we thought we would coming into this game for Aquinas. Blue Devils, one of the better rebounding teams in the WAC. Aquinas, one of the worst. But they've done their job on the glass, although still a 9-point game thanks to Ty Searles. And Searles gets a well-deserved breather. High fives from his teammates on the way out. Really gave the Blue Devils this lead on his own. Heck of a run, and it's a 54-45 Blue Devil lead right now. Now Miles, an opportunity for him to go to work. Sissewa, got it. TJ Hunter directing traffic, Powers Catholic alum, Flint, Michigan native. Drives baseline, and they're going to get the push off on Sissewa. A little over halfway into this second half. Bethel, bit of a mismatch defensively there, going up against the quicker guard in Justin Larry. And Larry took advantage of what he saw. A chance to get back within single digits. They do indeed get back within single digits. Miles on the face-up. Sissow on the jumper. Hopped up out of bounds. 57-48, the second half score in favor of Lawrence Tech right now. Page checks back in for Aquinas, a player who had 16 points last time out for the Saints. Crossing, top of the key. The drive, then the pop, came up short. A rebound caroms off the glass to Miles. TJ Hunter is clapping. Senior versus freshman matchup there. Now here's Bethel, digging his way in, going up, drawing a foul, and scoring. Jalen Bethel has been a cut above really anything that Lawrence Tech has had at that position in the modern era, and he's only a freshman out of Columbus. He's been quite the spectacle at that position, using his body and using it well. $12 points per game, shooting 50% from the fields. Shade under 8 rebounds per game. Third in the WAC in offensive rebounds per game this season. Free throw is off the iron, though. That's where he struggled. He's 58%. But it's still an 11-point game after they do get 2. Aquinas the other way. You think they don't want to rush things mentally because that's where you start to mess up. Bethel from behind got a piece of that. And Miles standing straight up. A third chance. Shot clock doesn't reset. And on the third, they get a foul. (59-48), the Blue Devil lead. Chance to cut it to single digits again. Searles back in, most likely his final stretch now. A nice breather for him before the final 7:43, and a nice cushion that he built up for his team for the final 7:43. He was able to get himself a breather and kind of give the team a lead, didn't he? Now, meanwhile, here's France. Ivanovic, entry feed, here's Bethel. Backing, firing, off the window and in. TJ Hunter. Slithering his way to the cup there, Deshaun Lewis. And we'll have another timeout. 30 seconds is how long you have to wait until we come back on the Lawrence Tech Sports Network. A 10-point, 61-51 Blue Devil lead on your home for Blue Devil Athletics. Will Smith and Men in Black. Welcome back to the Lawrence Tech Sports Network. A 10-point Blue Devil lead. Tad over 7 minutes to play in the second half. Once again, easily escaping that backcourt pressure. Searles back out on the floor. He's had a scintillating performance so far in front of this Blue Devil crowd. He has performed quite well at home, picking it right back up where he left off in 2019 19 now on the home floor. Bethel going to work, though, meanwhile, down low. The freshman finding a groove, finding a rhythm, and finding a chance to now extend this lead to what could be 13 for Lawrence Tech with 6:46 to play in the second. This would be their largest lead on the home floor this season. Josh Pickens told me before the game they needed to find their compete again. Felt they kind of laid an egg against Lourdes after a big win over Rochester. That's kind of been a story this season. But they have rediscovered their groove and their focus and their electricity on the home floor against a Rochester team that they were favored against, Aquinas team rather, that they were favored against coming into this one. And now they'll have Concordia on Saturday, a 3 p.m. tip-off here on the Lawrence Tech Sports Network. Once again, a pleasure to be with you. Jason Ross Jr. here, getting 2019 kicked off on the home floor. Plenty of more matchups to go. Once again, as I mentioned, Concordia at home on Saturday. Then you go on the road for two tough ones against Siena Heights and 25th-ranked Indiana Tech. And you're back home for a 3-game homestand with Madonna, Finlandia, and the Great Lakes Christian College. Now, here is Ivanovic rounding off on the free throw attempt. 13-point game, second half. 6:22 to go. Searles trying to defend the passing lane. Finding a little bit of space there and draining the short-range jumper was TJ Hunter. Blue Devils at 7-9 on the year, trying to extend a record season. 7 is the most they've won in the modern era. Miles France with his head up. Bethel's been hot. They kind of tried to shade towards him there. Miles, a couple of power dribbles and a power move, able to scoop and score back to a 13-point game. Freitag, Bethel, 6'9" versus 6'7". Bethel able to win that round. Shot clock didn't reset. Fortuitous rebounds going in favor of Aquinas, and the Saints hanging around, but the time is dwindling on their comeback effort with 5:15 to go. Pressing. Ivanovic. Bounce to Bethel, double again. France open, but Ivanovic triggers and knocks it down. And then calling out the defensive signals the other way. Now battling against Lepage. Nice pump, nice step in, good and hit. Rebound taps back out to him. They'll get to reload it with a fresh shot clock, but they can't use all of that shot clock because they have limited time. 4:36 to be exact and rolling here in this second half. Triple try from Hunter off the mark. Rebound vacuumed in by Bethel, and the freshman guard will give it back to the senior. Freshman forward, rather, back to the senior guard. Bethel. Freshman working against sophomore. Freitag defending. Bethel unable to hit. Freitag wins that round of the big versus big battle. Quickly with speed the other way and much needed speed is TJ Hunter. Trying to get some points quickly, couldn't do it. Under 4 to go now. This one is slipping away from the Saints and slipping into the grasp of the Blue Devils, who are in search of their 8th win of the season. France working against Atwater. Slipped, fell, fouled. Isaiah Cumberland checks back in, coming off a career-high 16 points. Last time out against Lourdes. On the 1-and-1 now, Carter France. Freshman at the line, hoping to ice this one. Knocks down the first. Blue Devils hit the 70 mark. One of their better defensive performances of the season. I mentioned coming in, LTU was allowing the second most points per game in the WAC. Aquinas struggling offensively, though, and that has continued in this pattern. And now Cumberland, the board, and France on the reset. LTU 7th in scoring offense in the WAC is 72 points per game, hovering right around that average. Looks like they'll eclipse that. But Aquinas came in last in the WAC with just 64 points per game, and they're still 9 points below that average. So with 3:35 to go in the second half, we'll take a breather. Blue Devils up 15 on the Lawrence Tech Sports Network. (70-55), the Blue Devil lead with 3:35 to go in this second half. Looking to wrap things up on a Wednesday night. Get a couple of days of practice in before Concordia comes in town from Ann Arbor. Aquinas bus arrived around 4 p.m. today. Made the 2-hour and 20-minute trek. These basketball players make so much sacrifice during this time of the year. All the students are still at home here at Lawrence Tech University. They'll be back, some of them, on Saturday. School starts back next Monday here on the campus of LTU. But these Blue Devil players on the women's and men's side, so admirable what they do, staying home, staying here for the majority of the break. They only get a few days to go back home. They get Christmas. But our women's team, for example, went to Pittsburgh and played Point Park to wrap up the year. The men's team did get a significant break, though. They didn't have to come back until January 2nd. Obviously, still before all of the students who aren't athletes come back on campus. And this is their third game of the new year. 1-1 so far in 2019. And 2 minutes and 30 seconds away, barring a collapse, from making it 2-1. France, open. Book it. That should wrap it up. An 18-point lead is the largest the Blue Devils have had on the home floor this season. Fans applauding and looking ahead to the finish line. An intense performance. Ty Suros has preached intention in everything you do. Devontae Miles, one of the leaders on this team, picked over to the freshman Cumberland. The sophomore Ivanovic. Head coach Josh Pickens talked about everything that these players who were on the team last year went through in the 4-win season. But at the same time, despite the fact that they weren't winning, all of the things that they were still doing on a day-to-day basis that has led over into what isn't a resurgence this year, but a come-out party for this LTU men's basketball program. Up 20, their largest lead at home this season, and in cruise control on the way to improving to 8-9 on the season. Welcome back. Glad to be with you. A 20-point Blue Devil lead. We'll be back on Saturday, 3 p.m. tip-off for the men. but we kick off at 1 in the first of our doubleheader as the women try to get back in the win column. Blue Devil women are still third in the WAC. Nothing to be worried about there. Head coach Kylie and Biggs' team will regroup. They'll head back to practice tomorrow. Suffered a tough loss at the hands of Aquinas today. Final 5 seconds. It was a 53-51 loss. But they'll be back at it against Concordia, a team that they've already beaten once this season on Saturday. And then a couple of big road matchups for the women. A team that certainly has aspirations to compete in the postseason this year. This men's team now getting some backup players, some valuable experience. They don't go very deep into the bench, but they're doing it right now. The lineup, you're looking at Logan Danaher, Arthur Asbury, Sana Sisawa, Seth McKenzie, and Tyler Balin, an all-freshman 5. Getting some key experience, some guys that don't play a lot with 45 seconds to go in this second half. Sisawa the board. We'll give to Asbury, 5'10 freshman from Warren, Michigan, Casino High School. Played versus Lourdes, his first appearance since late November. Now here's Logan Danaher, 6'7 freshman from Perry, Michigan, and Perry High School. All 5 freshmen out on the floor right now. Just 19.7 seconds left. Nice time to introduce these guys to you. You'll see them a lot down the road. Maybe not necessarily this season, but they'll run out the clock here. I think that 3 attempt was tipped from Balin. Just 10 seconds to go now. And the Blue Devils get their largest victory under head coach Josh Pickens. That will wrap it up. A 77-60 win, the largest in the tenure of head coach Josh Pickens. It was a pleasure to be with you for this doubleheader. Once again, we're back at it on Saturday. 1 p.m. tip-off for the women going up against Concordia, and then 3 p.m. for the men. Your Blue Devils improve now to 8-9 on the season, a chance to get to 500 on Saturday. 5-5 in the WAC, 500 in the conference in January. First time under head coach Josh Pickens, first time in the modern era that we've ever said that. And the look to get above 500 on Saturday. Big victory, big win on the big stage in the WAC conference. So long and goodbye. Have a wonderful night. I'm Jason Ross Jr.